first company task force. We
All
got
right, yeah, we're going to be using List Forge here tonight because it's the only thing I found that we can use that actually has the new points in it.
first company task force.
Yeah, so it's called. Oh, and I'll spell first right. Lead not working. All right. Being weird. There we go. All right. So Warmer, and then if you go to, oops, I forgot this thing was weird like this. If you go to List Forge and you want to do the new wolves, you got to download the one that says LF at the end. The other one will have regular wolves, so you can still use it to do regular wolves. Create roster. This is on an emulator to make it seem like a phone, so it doesn't work. It's certain places this may be a little annoying as I'm doing this, but we're going to make it work the best we can.
Okay, first company task force.
First company. All right, next let's look at first company. This, I believe, has the rules in it. All right, so with first company, once per battle in your command phase, you can use the ability if you do until start of your next command phase. Each time a model from your army with oath ability makes an attack that targets your oath, the moment target, you can re-roll the wound roll.
Wow, that is really powerful. Rerolling hits and wounds once per game, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so if you're fighting like Eldar, it's not going to be that good. But if you're fighting knights or something, you can have one turn to be really, really go hard into their best things. All right, so in this, there we go. I have to do it with my arrow key, not the. So we're going to take Arjac. We're going to take Bjorn. We're going to take Logan.
Okay.
So Bjorn for the extra CP. So I think he's going to probably end up in most of the builds, no matter what detachment.
Yeah, CP is always great.
Arjac and Logan are the only options we have to lead Space Wolf Terminators, Wolfguard Terminators. And then we're going to add a few other characters in here. We will add a Captain and Terminator Armour. And once I get these all added in, I'll go back and add why we're doing them. Chaplain and Terminator Armour. And then 2 Iron Priests. So the Captain and Terminator Armour, he lets you reroll charges made for his unit.
Okay.
And once per battle round, you get the free CP.
Okay.
So that's super simple, super good thing to take. We're going to give him, where is it? Rites of War, which basically gives him +1 OC, and once per game, he can give his whole unit +1 OC.
That's pretty good. Terminators do suffer from an OC problem.
Yes. And I already played around with this list, so some of this is just me adding stuff in I did earlier when I was playing around with it. And then the Chaplain, we're going to give Imperium Sword, which gives him +1 attack, and once per game, he can give his whole unit +1 attack.
That's very solid.
Yep. All right. Unfortunately, this doesn't show the strats, so I'm actually going to read through some of these strats before we start building the rest of the list, because that's
definitely
on these detachments. The strats really, really are what make these lists work. So let's see here: Codex, First Company, Stratagems. All right, so Armor Contempt. We all know Armor Contempt. That's solid strat, especially on Terminators. So then we have Heroes of the Chapter, which is your shooting or fight phase. 1 Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, or Vanguard squad. Till the end of the phase, each time a model unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit. If the unit is below below half strength, add 1 to the wound.
So it's mainly +1 to hit, although if you are in that odd case, you have a couple members of your squad left. +1 to hit and wound.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah, so that's okay strat, not amazing. Terrifying Proficiency. Your fight phase, Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, Vanguard, a lot of these affect those, which does work with Wolfguard Terminators, but unfortunately Head Takers do not have the Blade Guard keyword, which is why in this list, even though I love Head Takers, you will not see Head Takers in this list.
Right, they don't benefit anything from this attachment.
Yep. So basically, you put this on your unit in the fight phase. In your opponent's next command phase, each enemy unit within 3 inches of yours must take a battle shock test. If the unit taking the test is below half strength, subtract 1 from that test. Enemy units affected by this stratagem do not need to take any other battle shock. So basically, you can force units that don't need to take a battle shock to take one, and units that already have to take one are basically going to be at -1.
-1. Very solid. I mean,
Yep.
taking random battle shocks can sometimes force a 5-point swing on primary.
Well, because the nice thing about it is, yeah, you don't take it immediately. Yeah, you take it in their command phase. You could shut down some of their primary. So then we have Duty and Honor. Your movement phase: 1 Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, Vanguard. The objective marker within range of an objective marker you control. That objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn.
That's
So
really good sticky timing.
Yeah. So this one is at the end of any turn. So it's not like any phase they can shut it off. And it's movement phase. So it doesn't say start of or end of. So you could sticky objective, then leave it, or you could walk onto an objective and sticky it. So I just really like that it has that flexibility. So this is one of the things I really like about this detachment. This is another really good one. Orbital teleportation. End of your opponent's fight phase. Terminators. Remove the unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserve. Arrive back on the battlefield in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase using Deep Strike.
Okay, redeploy Terminators. That's pretty good.
Can't use it if they're in range. So the nice thing about this is, if you take it mostly, you can start a Terminator squad on the board. If you go second, pick it up at the end of your opponent's first turn, bring it and Logan or another unit he picks down. So basically, have 2 units that can Terminator squads deep striking turn 1.
That is a lot of board presence you can take up turn 1.
Yes. And so you can put Arjac squad down. You can do it with the captain squad, which will basically get to jump up for free because he gets the free CP, which is probably how I do it.
Yeah, totally. Space Wolf 223 saying, howdy guys, you going over a list?
We're building a list.
We are building Space Wolf lists for every single Space Wolf detachment. We're doing 2 or 3 today. We'll see how far we get. We're starting with First Grade Company, focused on Stern Guard, Blade Guard, Terminators, and Vanguard veterans.
So First Company Task Force. I'm calling it First Grade Company. So that's just a really great mobility strat for Terminators.
Totally.
Because the Space Wolf Terminators are moving 6, but the other Terminators, if you take more in this list, are going to be moving 5. And the last one is Legendary Fortitude. Your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy unit ends a charge move. Terminator, Blade Guard, Stern Guard, or Vanguard. Till the end of your turn, each time an attack is allocated to a model in your unit, -1 damage.
That is so powerful.
This is a combat -1 damage.
Still, though, that just completely shuts down any combat unit.
No, that's right. That's
2 or 3 damage.
Yep. Because sometimes you're stuck only having it in the shooting phase, and you're trying not to get shot anyway. Now you get stuck in Arjac squad, or the Space Marine Terminator squads can now be -1 to wound, -1 damage, fight on death with Arjac. Those squads are going to be tough to deal with in combat.
Yeah, I'm realizing, and we'll talk about it in a sec when you start adding other stuff, but Wolfguard Terminators are really hard to shift, especially if you have access to AOC in any of the Space Marine attachments.
Right, so now we have AOC and -1 damage in combat?
That is, there's nothing that's going to shift that in combat except for Angron. I mean, even Angron is going to have a hard time. It's probably going to take 2 turns to do it.
That's the thing. When I started reading back through this, I was like, you know what? I was joking around in our chat the other day about doing a Terminator list, and I'm like, you know what? This actually might have some legs.
Yeah.
All right, so Arjac and Logan we take. They're going to leave. Then the Terminator Chaplain gives you +1 to wound.
Yep.
Which is always really, really nice. And while he's leading a unit, models of the unit have a Feel No Pain 4-up against mortal wounds.
Amazing. That is so powerful.
So a lot of psychic attacks are mostly mortal. Anything that does dev wounds is mortal. Because him and the Librarian are same points. The Librarian gives you a 4-up only against psychic. But he does give you sustained hits. So I was like, man, Thunderhammer, put him in Assault Terminators, Thunderhammers with sustained hits would be good. But I just think having the mortal or the Feel No Pain against all mortals
is
just
really
a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonderful model.
The Iron Priest is, well, pretty self-explanatory. All right. So I'm going to go down here to infantry. So this is where This is going to be a Terminator heavy build, so this is where most of what we're going to have comes from. All right, so go down here, and a few things we always take. We're going to take an infiltrator squad.
Holding the
We're going to
home.
be up. We're going to be up. Yeah, we're going to be uppy, downy, deep striking in your face. I don't want you doing the same thing. This kind of just keeps. And depending on certain matchups, if they don't have a lot of up down, you may leave something else back there and put them out to bubble. And just I always like them. They're 100 points, but I always find infiltrators are worth their points. Scouts, a little sacrificial. This way, because the one thing about a deep striking army like this is people that also have scouting or infiltrating stuff could try to bubble you back early. So you can infiltrate your scouts up to push their infiltrates back and then scout back.
Yeah.
So just, so scouts are really useful in this list. Terminator Assault Squad and Wolfguard Terminators.
Yeah.
So this being a Terminator heavy list, we are probably going to end up a little short on stuff. So I'm going to run. Oops. Way too many. So we're going to run 5 Thunderhammer Storm Shield guys.
With the captain?
With the captain. And also with the Chaplain.
Oh, wow.
So the Chaplain squad, reroll charges, get Assault Terminators in. That's good. And extra CP for doing stuff. It's probably the unit I start on the table and pick up. The Terminator Skull Squad with the Storm Shields, because regular Terminators can't take Storm Shields. So I'm really teching into the 4 wound stuff.
Yeah.
So these guys are all going to be 4 wounds with access to -1 damage in this detachment, 4 feel no pain against mortals, and +1 to wound with Thunderhammers.
Yeah. Hogfire was saying evening, just got home, wiped the World Eaters with Index Wolves. Yep. Great, man. I love wiping World Eaters. They've kind of been a bane for me running Index Wolves, but I'm glad you were able to take them down.
Yep. Well, especially if he, because some of the stuff World Eaters do now is like mortal stuff. So if you're running Champions of Rust and have access to that, I don't know what he ran. They actually are pretty good into that. Yeah.
And finally, Brian's showing up saying he loves that we've got a Space Wolf specific podcast. Yeah, man, that's the whole point. We're taking up space and howling at the moon, and I'm glad you're vibing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. So then we have the Wolfguard Terminators. Obviously, that's what Logan and Arjac are running with because that's all they can do. So this will be my 1 3-wound Terminator in this squad. It's going to take the Relic Axe. I'm not running the Assault Cannon just because I don't think it's worth it.
It's not really worth it.
Oh. All right, so then we'll run 5 or 4 of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll duplicate that. So both squads the same. Both squads with 1 Relic Axe and then the guys. That leaves us 430 points. And this is where we get the vehicles.
Get into those vehicles.
Supported by the Iron Priest to just give some fire support to these Terminators. And then we're going to go double Predator.
Man, I really like this loadout that you've got on vehicles. You might see very similar things. Lancer, 2 Iron Priests, Lancer, Annihilator. That, I think, is a very preferred loadout. I ran triple Annihilator, and I found that I was lacking in damage outside of 24 inches, and it was hard to get within 24 inches on the first turn or 2.
Yeah, unless you're taking that 3rd Iron Priest, I think for every Predator, you need an Iron Priest, because when they're just sitting there at 3 shots, they're not that great. 6 shots and 8 on the turn to shoot the Hunter Killer. They're really, really good. The Lancer's only 2 shots, but he has that free built-in reroll on himself, so it just helps with his efficiency. So I don't mind just taking a Lancer that's not getting buffed, although if they're really sitting back, you pop one of the rapid fires on the Lancer, just put 3 shots at 36.
At 36, that was a bit of my downfall. I couldn't get rapid fire on my Predators early on, so I was firing single shot Predators at 30 inches, and I was like, I really wish I had a Lancer here.
Yeah,
the rapid fire Lancer at 36 inches is a choice,
Yep. So in this list, you're a little limited on units, and we got this little thing up here, but that's just because I didn't click on Logan as the Warlord. So Logan's the Warlord. I just didn't click that. So this is a fully legal list. We got really good shooting to sit back. We got infiltrators to protect the home. We got scouts to do some secondary stuff, and then we got 4 Terminator squads.
Ooh, man. Oof.
Yep, 2 assault, 2 wolf guard. Everybody has a character. Basically 4 wounds across the table except the sergeants and the 2 wolf guards, so we can have that 3 damage relic axe. So you are going to be a little short on mission play units, so you're going to have to use your Iron Priest for that sometimes. Possibly give up a Annihilator or Lancer shot and only shoot with 2 tanks, or maybe 1 Terminator squad. So there's going to be times where you may have to choose one of your units that normally is a damage dealer to score you points depending on what's going on in the game. That's the real flaw with this list.
Yeah, but you have 20 bodies that are all 2 up, 4 up, 4 wounds. Some of them are -1 to wound. If you're charged them, you're -1 damage. They're AOC here.
Yep.
This is tough to chew through for any list.
Oh yeah, now what was the special rule on assault terminators? I can't remember it.
I think you take a battle shock test when they charge you.
Oh yeah, each time they end a charge, and enemy units in the game has to take a battle shock. They get to teleport him. All right, so that's okay. The regular Terminators are 10 points cheaper, so you could always swap these out for those. And they believe I get +1 to hit or something into the Oath target, I believe. I think they hit on 2s against the Oath target, which is okay, but hitting on 3s with full rerolls into the Oath target already. And you got your once per game +1 to wound, or what was it? Reroll to, I don't even remember what the army rule was again.
Once per game reroll wounds against the Oath target.
Reroll wounds, yeah. Yeah, so it's +1 that regular Marines get. So I don't really think you need that because they only really get Stormbolters other than 1 heavy weapon, which really isn't that efficient. And they can't take the Thunderhammer, so you're really looking at Power Fists or like maybe putting Chain Fists in, but they don't hit that well. So I think this is the way I would enjoy it. And you don't have to worry about Lightning Claw Terminators because the Space Wolf, the Wolf Guard Terminators, have the Mastercrafted weapon, so they're a little better at killing the hordes.
So overall, how do you feel about First Company Task Force for the Wolves?
I think this could really, really be difficult for people to shift. Space Wolf Terminators move a little faster than normal, and you have the uppy downy strat for Terminators. You can sticky an objective, which also helps with not having scoring units.
Totally.
So you run these Terminators across the board, sticky your expansion objective, and then have infiltrators or scouts or something over there to stop people dropping on it. And now you don't even have to have any models on it. Just have people screening it out, so they have to come through your Terminators to try to turn it back off.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I don't know if we'll ask this, but if you're running all Terminators, do you think this is the best detachment to do it for Space Wolves?
Yes, probably, because there's so many strats and stuff that's specific
to Terminators.
And the up-down for Terminators is amazing. So yeah, if you want to go Terminator heavy, and you could even drop the shooting and put more Terminators in if you wanted to. Like, you could go more Terminators if you wanted, but I think supporting them with the shooting is the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
Because especially since Space Wolves can only have 2 characters that can leave Termies.
Yeah.
So you can take a third Terminator unit, but it's Wolf Guard, but it'd be by itself. You could buff some of their unit up to 10 mans, but now you're really, really running down. I think the 5 mans are really, really just good delivery system for the characters.
Really good. Yeah. Solid. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will be fun. I'll probably run this at some point once I get I don't have enough Terminators to do it now because I'm proxying my regular Terminators as Wolf Guard right now in my test games.
Yeah.
So once the Wolf Guard Terminators get released and I build them, then I can run this list, and I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I think there's probably stuff that's good at picking up Terminators, like that will give this a problem, but there's also armies that just won't be able to deal with it.
Yeah, this could be. I feel like this is a pretty. It's a skew build. All Terminators.
Oh yeah,
armies that can deal with Terminators, armies that can't deal with Terminators.
Yeah.
Long-time listener.
Yep.
Love what you guys do. Just want to say thank you. And question is, can we get Dan from Hobby Goblins on the Wolf Council? That would be awesome. Ask Dan. We'd love for him to come
Dan
on.
is in our Space Wolf chat. I invite him all the time. Unfortunately, the schedule for when we do the Wolf Council and the schedule for what they have him doing over there, he just really doesn't necessarily have the time. But we definitely, some of the stuff we talk on here and some of the stuff he does on the channel is definitely shared input from the Space Wolf chat we all are in. So definitely some of our opinions have input from Dan, and definitely some of Dan's lists have input from us. We all talk. It's just, unfortunately, schedules don't line up to get him on here because he's on their channel so much, especially now with the new Wolves. He just doesn't have
He's
a
doing
lot of
great,
free
man.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to find time for family too. So, but no, I'd
But
love to have Dan. Dan's welcome on this channel anytime he's free. He knows that.
totally. Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have him. And Mike, thanks for tuning in during the live stream. Peach is saying, doing hedges what I missed. So we are going through all of the Space Wolf attachments, all 12 of them. There are 12 potential attachments, and we are writing lists for each one of them. Starting with some of the lesser known ones. Obviously, you're gonna, the Sagas, Gladius, Stormlance, maybe even Ironstorm are all pretty pretty well known, but we're going to take a look at some of the lesser known detachments first to see how would we build a list with Space Wolves.
Yep. Tonight, the idea was each of us to pick our Hear Me Out detachment. And that first company is mine. Like, I would enjoy playing this. I think it could do well. This could win some smaller events. I don't know if it's winning like a major, but this could win an RTT, maybe a small GT. I think this could do something like that. But it's not going to win like Noverse or anything crazy like that, which I think there are some detachments that will, if we still have the points and stuff we have now, when we actually get fully released, could have potential to make noise at real events.
Totally. I'm really excited for that.
All right. So that's my first company or first task force build.